Romans.
It's not wrong. It's
No, Romans.
Romans. And it wasn't just Romans, it was the whole fucking world. That's the way they believed. They had a whole bunch of gods.
But what I'm saying is, we're talking about the Romans. You're talking about the Romans. But then the Romans, they're the ones who are supposed to have nailed the Son of Man, aka Jesus, on the cross, right?
Yep.
But the Rome, it's because do you think that the Romans, according to this, is fairy tale stories from the Bible, obviously, that we're talking about?
I think the nailing on the cross and all this shit, this is kind of documented stuff. It happened.
No, they used to nail people on the cross, yes, as punishment.
They nailed criminals on the cross.
Yes, criminals on the cross, but nothing, the Jesus story that we're talking about
I'm pretty sure that Jesus was a documented event, and the Romans nailed him on the cross.
So you think?
Because the new concept of Christianity and only one God and all this kind of stuff, it very much threatened the status quo. That wasn't how Romans believed.
Okay, so you're making me believe that, I know you're well read, you're making me believe that there was such a person called Jesus.
I do believe there was somebody.
Somebody called Jesus. Not that he was the Son of Man, obviously, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
but there was a person called Jesus.
He was probably somebody with a real gift of the gab, very charismatic.
A magician.
Gathered people together.
Yes.
And got the forces of Christianity rocking and rolling.
Yes, so
it threatened the Roman belief system.
Mm-hmm. That story makes sense because that story is more believable than the biblical story of what. So, when you talk about Jesus, do you really? I think he did have disciples because he was a force at the time. He was trying to
disciples. He couldn't have done this all by himself.
So the story, we both agree that the story of there being somebody called Jesus, not that he was the Son of Man or anything, no. This person came and said, I am Jesus, I am the Son of Man. He recruited his 12 boys, disciples there. And one of them was Judas and whatnot. And Judas sold him to the Romans, sold this Jesus to the Romans, right?
Presumably.
No. I think what we're talking about is, I really think this did happen. There was such a person called Jesus, except he was not the Son of Man. I think he was so smart, he thought, right, this ignorant one, I am going to come and I will announce that I'm the Son of Man. I am the chosen one. I am the Son of Man. You've got to follow me. If you want to enter, there's a heaven. This person called Jesus, he said there's a heaven. And what? He was like these so-called men of God that we see today. They're taking people's monies and people...
Candy, ask yourself, the prophet that took Ben's money, do you really believe that he believes his own bullshit?
No, he doesn't. He's just a businessman, a very smart one.
So these people, Jesus and the disciples and all that, they're prophets and all that stuff. I don't think any one of them ever did a day's work in their life. They lived off their line of bullshit.
Yes.
Because people brought them bread and wine.
Yeah. So, there was a smart guy called Jesus in them days, except he wasn't the Son of Man. He was never, they did stake him like the Romans, like you're saying. It makes sense. The events of the story make sense that somebody just came out of the woods and thought, how can I get people to follow me here, right? I'm going to tell them I am the chosen one. My Father is called God. He lives up in the sky. Therefore, for them to go to see God, they must follow. They have to follow me. So people had the obligation to follow him. Then he gathered a massive following because everyone wanted, when you die, you're going to sit on my lap and what is like weird shit. And you have to come through me. That's the bit that actually is very interesting. I think that if someone had some reason, they would actually think, okay, why is he saying that if we want to go to God, we must go through him first? That's number one line of bullshit there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then the Romans get wind of it. They say, what in the freaking world is going on? There's somebody called Jesus. He's saying that people must follow him if they want to. And then they liaised with Judas. What was the reason? Remind me why Judas sold him again to the Romans.
I don't remember that bit. But
Apparently,
the other aspect about all this stuff.
Apparently, it's because Jesus was gay. So the 12 disciples were all his boyfriends, but he favored 11 of them. He didn't favor, and this apparently is true. He didn't favor Judas.
Well, it could be.
So Judas got jealous and sold him to the Romans.
That's just as believable as any other story. But you know, the thing is, what happened there with Jesus Christ and the cross and all that bullshit? That was a situation where this concept of Christianity, one God, all powerful, the only God, etc., it challenged the belief system of the Roman world.
Yeah, because they were very powerful.
They were the world power at that point in history. They had their own belief system with all their gods and all this stuff for hundreds of years before that.
Yeah.
You know? So this was a system that not only challenged the Roman belief system, but it threatened to take away tax revenues from the Roman government.